Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. I've once again been traumatized in War Thunder playing another Pershing, this time the French M26. Now, the French M26 at least has quite some interesting lineups around it, whereas the American M26 just doesn't even get in the lineup itself because it's so bad compared to everything else. But even in the French lineup, if you have the event vehicles, the M26 still doesn't get into it. The AMX M4 and the AMX 13 are both vastly better vehicles than the M26 in pretty much every way, shape or form, apart from they don't have a 50 cal, but they're just better in every other way. Then you have the AMX 13 SS11, the EBR 1954, both vehicles, once again, just better than the M26. So even in a lineup from a minor nation, the M26 still doesn't get into it. And also with the CAS support, with the AD4 and the F4U7, and also some other vehicles, it's a pretty good lineup at 6.7, and yeah, it just doesn't make it at all. The simple fact is, the M26 is trash, and the reason why it's trash is because of a few factors. It's heavy, it doesn't have a very powerful engine for that heaviness, and also the 90mm M3 cannon is quite nice at its BR if you're not facing heavies. Let me into your secret, or let me into a secret for you at the 6.7 BR. Pretty much half, if not 3/4 of each team are heavy tanks, and they are T-34s, T-29s, T-30s, Tiger 2Hs, IS-2s, IS-3s from the major nations. And guess what? Since you're in France, you get to have the great pleasure of facing all of them. This means that your M82 shot, which is generally pretty good for a lot of other nations, is awful for this vehicle at this BR. Because the vast majority of stuff you face, you can't pen. You have to rely on an APCR round, and as we all know, APCR isn't exactly the best round to really do anything. So, comparing the M26 to the AMX M4, right, which are exactly the same BR. The M26 is slower. It technically has more armor, but as we know, when it comes to these oscillating turrets for France, they can tank quite a lot of shots. It has a 50 cal, I suppose, the good old M26. It has so much worse penetration. The M82 shot, at most, has 185mm of pen, whereas the AMX M4, with its PCO 50, has 259mm of pen, showing the difference between these two rounds, and why the AMX M4 can deal with heavy tanks where the M26 just can't. And it's just a horrific scenario for this vehicle, the M26, because you just can't do anything better than anyone else. So even though, when it comes to my stats, I did pretty well in it. Good win rate, okay KD. The amount of times I was just sat in a position just going, what do I do here? I can't do anything here. And okay, maybe I can flank. Not fast enough, gonna be caught. Maybe I can, charge ahead and try and deal with these guys. Nope, not gonna happen. They're just stronger than you. And then, oh, maybe I can play a support role. Well, as a support role, one of the big things you need in a vehicle is a good gun, so you can actually trade effectively, something the M26 doesn't have. It was laughable when this vehicle was put up to 6.7 alongside all of the American heavies, meaning that it would never see the light of day, and it is laughable that it is still 6.7 to this day. This vehicle needs to be down-BR'd. It is so bad in its current setup. It just doesn't feel well, and it just is worse than everything else that is at this BR. I don't think there is a single vehicle at 6.7, maybe the Rattle 20, which I wouldn't take over the M26. It's awful. It just cannot stand up in any way. It is a straight up jack of all trades, master of none. And every other vehicle that you face is better than you in several ways. It's just awful. Not worth it, and a blight on any tech tree that it finds itself in. As always, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. I'd like to thank Schnitzel Stroker, Brendan Quinn, Vilneus, Character Fuel, Carrion Crow, Nicholas Richardson, Gus Irenicus, Pyman, Wartinder, Teddy, Daniel Stanton, B. Young, Opium Prime, Masonocrat, Lafouche, Alan Hacker, Sem Arslan, Uncle Bean, and Derek R. for supporting the channel.